Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. As always, we are starting with some EVE Online, and that has probably been a little bit less than average when it comes to my playtime in EVE Online. The main reason for that is that we were hit by an incursion in Didal that of course limits your options when it comes to local activities. I did do a little bit of exploration. You saw me take out the Ishtar once again, and I'm also working on taking out the Gila, because I have to be honest, I get a lot of comments on the Ishtar feeds that it's very active, lots of clicking, because I'm using the individual drones, and that the Gila is so much easier, which I would say is a true comment when it comes to the high-sec exploration sites. I think the Gila is king. I don't think that there's any better ship out there to handle those sites, but we'll see how we get along on that front a little bit later. When it comes to the blueprint copy business, it's definitely been a slow week. I think I made maybe 6 sales or something like that on the individual blueprint copies. So that one went down a little bit. We'll see if it's better by next week. It does mean that I increased my library of available blueprints by quite a little bit. I'm hoping that the Orca PPCs can still do well. Those generally tend to sell for like 20 million a piece. And you may have noticed on EVE Talk as well, I received a very generous donation of 1 billion ISK. That's very welcome. That goes straight to funding more fuel for all the services in Didal, so that you guys can keep using them at practically no cost there. After that, PI, of course, I'm still just keeping up with the planets, but it must be said that I have a couple of coolant planets, and if you watch EVE Talk, you know that the fuel-related PI materials are still not doing well at all. Especially coolants is very cheap, and personally I am starting to consider switching it up when it comes to the production of PI materials. So I think I have 2 storm planets that produce electrolyte or something like that that are still doing very well, but then the 3 other planets, a barren one and 2 coolant planets, are not doing all that well when it comes to the cash flow, and so maybe I should look into switching that up a little bit. We'll see. That's a project for a little bit later. Other than that, of course, we are eagerly awaiting the patch for February the 13th, when I'll deploy yet another refinery, a drill, and we'll punch the moon and start creating our own belts here for everyone in Didal once again. So hopefully all of that is going to work out, and then I'm eagerly awaiting any information that CCP has on their future plans for EVE Online. Next up we have some Hearthstone. So I've been playing that on and off. I definitely haven't played that every single day, but I have been keeping up with the daily quests for gold. The idea there is to earn enough gold to be able to do some arenas now and then. That's another aspect of Hearthstone that doesn't require you to have a massive collection of cards, so I think that that's very enjoyable. And I've still been playing some solo adventures. I'm basically trying to do the first dungeon with every class, and I've managed to finish a couple of those, but it is not easy. The final bosses are often super overpowered, and it takes a lot of luck with the deck that you've been building through that solo adventure in order to actually get on top of a boss. You really need some gimmick legendaries and stuff like that, some really good passives as well, in order to make that happen. But it is basically, in my opinion, the right amount of challenging and repeatability, accessibility that this is typical for Blizzards. Those guys don't just make games, and whereas CCP makes worlds, they make crack cocaine. All of their stuff is just so incredibly addicting. It's really crazy how well, in my opinion, that is, because you start out so easily, right? You start off with 3-4 bosses that you'll beat like 99% of the time, no problem. You can be extremely unlucky once in a while, but then during that phase you can often choose which route you want your deck to go, right? You want a Satoon deck, you want a big legendary deck because you got the passive that reduces the cost of everything that's more than 5 to 5. You want a spell deck. There's lots and lots of really fun possibilities that you can try out there depending on the class. And then after that, bosses, I would say 5, 6 and 7 are somewhat more challenging. You need a little bit of luck. You need to know what you're doing with the cards in order to get through them pretty smoothly. And then the final boss is always the gamble, because those guys are so overpowered that you need luck in that phase as well, and you need the right deck. Everything needs to fall into place for the final boss. Whenever I fail for that though, I'm like, alright, I want to try something else. I want to try maybe like a different type of deck or something like that. And that is the addicting aspect of the solo dungeon runs that I really enjoy. If you manage to get through up to boss 8, it can be like 45 minutes, I think, something like that. It does take a decent amount of time, but in that time you're building up so easily at first, and you can really build up to a very cool deck potentially, and you keep wanting more of that. So just another turn, just like with Civilizations. It's the exact same thing with the solo dungeon runs in Hearthstone, and I'm having a lot of fun trying to beat that with all classes for now. And for my final game, after more than 9 years away from Azeroth, I'm back for some World of Warcraft. So that may come out of left field a little bit for most of you guys, but the guilty party here was the trailer for Battle for Azeroth. For me, that really hit it out of the ballpark. It's back to the roots, it's back to Azeroth, it's once again Horde versus Alliance, so a heavy focus on that, probably through the story and through the content that they'll provide there. And I have to be honest, the feedback that I got during those 9 years that I didn't play EVE Online, that I didn't play World of Warcraft, which was after Wrath of the Lich King, that's where I stopped, was that at first things went downhill, and they made some mistakes in some of the expansions with like the garrisons and you know, basically the Facebook games that became very important. With the latest expansion with Legion, Blizzard really found their grounding once again. They were doing really well, providing nice raid content, providing very good content apparently with the new Mythic Dungeon system and all of that good stuff. And for me, that was basically the trigger when I saw the trailer. I was like, yeah, Battle for Azeroth, you know what? I do want to check that out. I want to get back into some World of Warcraft for that expansion. I want to give it a good chance there. And so when the pre-order came out, I had a choice to make. Do I want to just go in fresh right at the expansion, which is coming out in September? Or do I want to be ready? And personally, I don't want to go in cold after almost a decade of not playing World of Warcraft. So I decided to upgrade my account, pre-order the expansion Battle for Azeroth, and get started on a new character, because apparently, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, my old characters aren't available anymore. I'd say maybe my server merged or something like that, and they don't keep the characters active. I'm sure I could file a ticket if I want to, but I feel it's quite okay to start from scratch, so that I can give you guys the experience that I'm having right now, trying to get a character up to max level and prepared for the expansion Battle for Azeroth. So the plans are not to go hardcore. I don't want to do like super hardcore mythic raiding or even get great gear or anything like that. I've got 8 months to get a max level character, maybe to get a couple of professions up, and just to explore the game and have fun with it. That is the main goal. So I started a Worgen Hunter called the Lone Wolf, so I think that's pretty fitting. It's an easy class. I know that there's cooler stuff to play out there, but for me the idea here is to have something that is decently easy to master, I would say, and to know exactly what I'm expected to do in groups, so that I can try and get that one to max level, still do like dungeon finder stuff and things like that, without having to really spend every waking moment trying to optimize that or trying to figure out complex rotations and things like that. Because the goal here is A, to have fun, and B, to find the right schedule for me to combine World of Warcraft and EVE Online. So for you guys that are worried that World of Warcraft is going to take everything over, absolutely not. The idea is to maybe produce one video a week starting in a little bit, and to keep up with EVE Online. I want to punch that moon, I want to see what's coming next, I want to still play that very actively. But yeah, that Battle for Azeroth trailer, guys, gotta be honest, shed a couple of tears when I saw that, and I was like, yes, okay, Blizzard, you know what? You got me. I'm coming back for that. I'm going to check that out. And so that's what happened there, and I got started on my new character. That's it also for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.